welcome back. So today these are all the materials that we'll be using to get that red color that I showed you earlier in the video. We're going to start off with some BW2 Claro powder, and you'll see here I'm just going to put 3 scoops in the bowl, and I'm going to just eyeball it. So we don't want it to be too thick because we want it to move it through the hair as evenly as possible. So you can just watch as I eyeball on this part. Okay, so here I have the 40 developer to put with the BW2 powder, and I'm gonna just mix it in, and you'll see what type of consistency I'm looking for. You'll also notice that the more developer you put inside of the powder, the more the mixture grows, and that's okay because again, we're dyeing multiple bundles as well as the frontal, so the more the merrier. Okay, you guys, so right here I'm just showing you the type of consistency I was looking for. As you can see, it's not too thick, it's dripping off of the spoon, and it's a perfect formula for us to bleach our hair. So as we start to bleach our hair, we want to make sure that we're getting everything covered, saturated as possible, so that there's no black spots when we rinse out our bleach. We will be dyeing this hair twice, you guys. It did take a while for it to lift, and to get that perfect red color, you will need to you will need to bleach your hair twice. So this is going to take a lot of time out of your day. You want to make sure that you're patient so that you can get the right color and get it covered all the same, and that it's not different reds throughout your hair. Okay, so as you guys can see here, I am going throughout the hair. I'm separating the strands, and I'm just trying to make sure that I get good inside of the bundle so that everything is completely covered. It's bleached so that when I rinse it out, it won't be too much to go over when I bleach it again. Okay, and so here I'm just flipping it over, and you're going to do this to each bundle that you have. You're going to do each side the same way. You want to make sure that you cover both sides as much as possible. Go throughout the bundle and just make sure you get inside of the strands as well so that it could be completely covered. Okay, you guys, so right here I started on the frontal, and this is where I made my biggest mistake, and this is what I'm here for, you guys, so that I can make the mistakes so you won't have to make the mistakes yourselves. So here, as you can see, I'm covering the entire frontal with the bleach when I should have just left my roots dark, and so I eventually had to go back and dye my roots a black color, and that turned out to be a lot of work instead of just bleaching the ends of the hair and leaving the roots black. So as you see, I'm going throughout the frontal. I'm covering the entire frontal with bleach because I really didn't care about getting it on the lace because I needed to bleach the knots anyway, which is why I just kind of went wild with the bleach. But I wouldn't advise you to do this. I would advise beginners to start off with just leaving their roots black. As you can see though, I am going through the frontal and I am sectioning it off, and then I'm just bleaching each section. Just avoid bleaching your roots as you do this, but you do want to make sure that you're going through each section and you're bleaching them thoroughly, and that you're getting through the strands so that everything can be covered. And as you can see, the closer I get to the roots, I start to turn the brush vertically so that I can make sure that I'm getting inside of the strands, but also so that I won't get too close to the lace as well. So yeah, just keep sectioning throughout the frontal and just bleach each section by parting, throwing it to the side, and then putting the bleach on there thoroughly until you get to the end of the frontal. So by now, you guys, I have covered my entire frontal with bleach. I really was just growing very impatient. I had been through 4 bundles thus far, and so at this point I just wanted to get done with the frontal and have it bleached and ready to go. So that's why I kind of just went wow. You probably want to be a little bit neater than me, especially if you're a beginner. But this is what I chose to do. I started to cover the lace as well with the bleach because I wanted to bleach the knots as well to get rid of any black dots that will show when I decide to part my frontal and things of that nature. So that's why I started bleaching the lace as well, and I just went haywire. Alright, so after we're done bleaching the hair, we're going to go ahead and rinse all of that bleach out until there's no more suds in the sink. Then you want to go in and wash it with some Shimmer Light shampoo and conditioner. I chose the generic kind from Sally's in the white bottle because it was more cost efficient. But it still works the same, and it still get those gold tones out of the hair. Okay, so right here, you guys, I have rinsed out all the bleach, and I am starting to fix my mistake with my frontal by dyeing the roots black. And I am cutting up the foil because I want to make sure that I am separating the roots and that I am laying the foil on each root so that the black won't get on the rest of the hair and it'll stay in the front section of the frontal. So I've placed the aluminum foil on top of the dyed section, and then I will continue to section out the frontal and just dye the root of each section as I part through the frontal. Okay, so right here, you guys, I am starting to remove the foil out throughout the frontal, and I'm flipping the hair over each section to make sure that I've gotten each side of the section, because when I flipped it over, I saw that it was just the portion that I dyed that was black. But when you flip the section over, it's still that blonde color. So you want to make sure that you go throughout the frontal and that you're flipping the sections over to make sure that each side of the section is dyed that black color. Do not worry about it getting through the lace. As long as underneath the lace the foil is not having dye dripped on it, then the lace will not dye black, I promise you. Okay guys, time for the fun part where we start to dye our hair on the stove. I filled the pot up with about 3 cups of water, and I put my owl on high, and then I just start to pour in my color. I have 5 bottles of the Crimson Dye in Adore brand, and as you see, I'm just pouring it in there, and I am going to wait for the mixture to boil. And once it starts to boil is when I will start to dip my bundles and my frontal inside of the pot. I did decide to dip my entire frontal inside of the pot. Although I was nervous, I was just at the point where I wanted to get done, and trust and believe, it did not damage the frontal at all. So as you can see, I have placed my bundle inside of the pot. At this point, I am freaking out, you guys. I don't know what is about to happen when I pull my hair out of the pot. I'm just praying for a miracle, and I'm just praying that it does not ruin the weave. Alright, so I am dipping my tongs in, and I pull out my hair, and everything looks pretty okay. Make sure that you guys have a towel beside you when you're pulling your hair out, because the hair will be super hot and it will also be dripping with dye everywhere, and you don't want it to get all over your stove or all over your towel on your floor. So definitely have a towel on hand as you pull your hair out of the pot. I let each bundle stay in for about 3 minutes total, and then I pull it out. You can kind of eyeball it. Make sure that you're stirring the hair around in the pot so that it can get covered, pushing it down so that all the dye can get on every strand and you're not leaving anything untouched. But definitely it doesn't take long to get it covered, and then you just pull it out and set it aside and move on to the next bundle of hair. Okay, you guys, so I have started on dyeing my frontal. I am very nervous. As you can tell, I am slowly dipping the ends in and trying not to touch the lace with the mixture. But it just got to the point where I was like, you know what? Let's just YOLO. So I just started dipping the lace in, and whatever happens at this point just happened. But like I said, it did come out pretty well. After spraying the lace with the Got To Be Free spray, I also decided to do the 1, 2, 3 method. So I would drop my frontal inside of the water and 1, 2, 3 pull it out and dip it back in, and I would just continue that method until I felt like the entire frontal was covered with the red dye. Okay, you guys, so we have dyed our hair. Now we're going to follow up and just wash all of that dye out of the weave with the Shimmer Lights shampoo and conditioner. And we want to make sure that we leave that conditioner inside of our weave, because we're going to deep condition it by putting it in the microwave. And then we're going to follow up and just rinse all of that conditioner out after we deep condition it. So here I'm just showing you the end result of the dye. I have put conditioner all over the bundles, and I am now going to sit it in the microwave for about 2 minutes. And here we have our beautiful red color. After all of that work, we have finally made it, you guys, and we have finished part 1 of the series.